Something really strange is happening in Hollywood, and I actually think it's a great thing. And that's that the future of filmmaking is not actually coming out of Hollywood. For years, the industry told us that the safest bets were sequels, franchises, and superhero films. And not to mention remakes and remakes and remakes. But right now, some of the most interesting box office stories are coming from filmmakers who built their audiences outside of that Hollywood system. Kane Parsons, the 20-year-old filmmaker behind Backrooms. I know you heard it at length, but just today, it became the highest grossing A24 film of all time. And he did what a lot of Hollywood studio franchises wish they could do, which is get butts in the seat and make people care. But how is this happening? How did a generation of creators with no traditional path into Hollywood suddenly become some of the most exciting filmmakers working today? And more importantly, what does it mean for the future of filmmaking? Let's talk about it. So point number one is predictability. Audiences know what's going to happen now. We've seen the same stories retold time and time and time again. There is no longer any uncertainty in a script. I mean, literally, how many films can you name in the last 10 years where someone was falling and they gripped onto the hands and they're holding onto the edge of whatever it is, and then they fall and then the hand comes out and grabs them? This just happens all the time. I literally was watching some crazy action film recently and I just turned my brain off. I just felt like, oh, I've seen this before. The car's gonna flip and they're gonna be okay, because that's just what happens. This is all CGI. There's nothing to worry about anymore. And perhaps that's just it. It's become so predictable, we don't worry, we don't care about the film. I've always said when we teach inside art of documentary, uncertainty is currency. This buys your audience's attention. It buys their emotions. It buys someone to care about the film. And right now, the scripts are so repetitive. We've seen so many remakes, and we've seen the same Spider-Man film again and again and again and again.
Oh, that's awesome.
That audiences are losing interest. The Marvel superhero films have all been going down in the box office. There's just only so many times you can push franchises quickly. And we're even seeing this, unfortunately, with the Star Wars universe. When you produce that much content that quickly, it just becomes predictable and it loses that sense of novelty. I mean, think of the times that you saw Fight Club or Seven. I mean, both of those are David Fincher films, but there's no way you could have predicted those endings. And I'm not just saying that every film needs some obscure, crazy story, but for a long time, Hollywood has taken the safe route. And yes, a happy ending is a great dopamine hit. I'm not saying you have to have some dark, twisted way of completing your film.
Oh, what's in the box?
But the stories have just become redundant. Saying all that is probably why No Country for Old Men is still my favorite film of all time. My second point is authenticity. We've seen such polished films in Hollywood for so long now, especially with the advent of the virtual wall on these sound stages where everything is completed in post and you have CGI and perfect backlighting at all times. I mean, I really did enjoy Frankenstein, but when I go look back at that film, everything is at magic hour. Every dang shot is sun-kissed and the sun is perfectly coming through the window. And that's cool and that's fun and that's what you're buying into that film. But after a while, the visuals of these films no longer have something that feels real. And if you look at this generation right now, they're connecting with authenticity. I think because of COVID, we started getting used to seeing people on Zoom calls, and suddenly the quality of even people's Zoom calls on the news has just been degrading. Look at this. Mr. Wonderful, who's trying to make this $100 billion data center, when he did his call to his investors, rather than sitting in some beautiful office where he's going to convince them that everything is going oh well and that they need to keep giving their money, he did it on his phone in a car. Even his PR team knew how important it was to come across authentic. And that's why he did that call there.
Nobody trusts you if you have over-processed videos now, and they've discovered that. They're even in commercials.
And so these films like Backrooms that are in a dank yellow bowels of a furniture store, or Obsession, which looks like an indie film, I think audiences appreciate this. They almost trust the filmmaking a bit more when it's not perfect. I mean, if you go look at my review when I talked about White Lotus, this is where cinematographers are picking up on this. They're no longer backlighting everything. They're leaving things a bit more raw. We don't want everything perfect. I think that's what people want, is they want trust, especially in this era of AI slop. Because AI is only going to going to be pulling from that huge feature film franchise world where everything is perfectly lit and it has all the 3-point lighting. And so if we're going to be seeing more AI generated images, people are going to be kind of going towards that more imperfect indie film look. And listen, it's easy to pile on Hollywood, and I realize I'm doing that, but they just follow the money. They follow where people are going to spend $1 to get to the theater. And so the onus is a bit on us. If we aren't supporting these films, if we aren't going to the theaters to watch films like Backrooms or Obsession, then they're not going to keep getting made. I really feel bad that I never went and saw Train Dreams in theaters. I saw it later on Netflix, and I loved that film, and I really wish I could have gotten to see that in a theater space. But if we don't put our money where our preferences are, these films won't get made. This also means not torrenting a film. It means supporting the directors you love. It's sending a signal to these studios that these are the projects we want to see made. We want to see these types of films completed. It's why I will always gladly spend $20 on Apple to buy a Terrence Malick film, because I love his films and I want him to make more. And if you're wondering, how do I go shoot my own zero budget film? Well, I actually have a free resource down below, and it's from The Art of Documentary, which is our course and academy. We have thousands of filmmakers inside The Art of Documentary, and we have incredible courses like our best-selling Documentary Foundations, which takes you through the whole process of how to shoot your very first project, from finding the story, meeting the characters, shooting it, editing it, and releasing it. And AOD is the community that will help push you to complete those projects. And if there's one thing you'll see that's in common with all these films we're talking about today, it's that they have a community around them. And that's exactly what Art of Documentary brings to you. Not only do we have our 7 courses that are going to resource you in all areas of your film career, whether it's directing, editing, producing, or shooting, Art of Documentary is going to connect you to the people who want to make the films with you. I was just down in Denver at an AOD meetup, and there was over 60 filmmakers there. And some of the students, like Johnny and Kristen, were telling me that they would not have their own production company if it wasn't for Art of Documentary and the connections that they've made in this community. So we're going to be reopening the doors for AOD at the end of August, but we're giving away a ton of free resources online, like this one in this video. So go follow us over on Instagram, or go check out our YouTube page, as we're constantly posting new tutorials there that give you glimpses into our course. Or better yet, get on our wait list, as our doors are opening at the end of August, and that's going to be the best price possible for you to join Art of Documentary and be a part of the world's most thriving filmmaking community. Point number 3 is kind of what I just touched on when I was talking about AOD there, and that's the community. It's the creator economy. What so many of these directors you're seeing now have done is created an audience that buys into their projects ahead of time. This is the case of the director from Obsession, Curry Barker, who is a 26-year-old who's been making tons of hilarious YouTube videos for many years now, and has created a very dedicated audience around his content. So when he transitioned to make this film that was only $1 million, they showed up in droves. Case in point with Kane Parsons, his film has become the highest grossing A24 film of all time. It beat out Marty Supreme, which was Timothée Chalamet, which is kind of showing you that not even A-list actors can compete with a YouTube audience. People are dedicated. I've experienced that with my projects. You guys have shown up amazing in theaters when I've released projects like the ASD band film. And when I release finally The Standard, I can't wait to meet you guys all in theaters or at the release. More on that soon. You've been very patient. But these films that are coming out right now are showing Hollywood that we no longer care about the gods of the A-list. That these celebrities, unless they're creating a connection to their audiences, often aren't pulling people the way they used to. Unless maybe perhaps they're like a Daniel Day-Lewis, who's very ominous and doesn't have social media, so you're curious to see him on screen because we just don't get to see him that often. But that's the great thing about having a community as a director, is people already understand what you're doing, and most important, they understand what you've been through to get here, so they want to show up. They feel truly like friends and family who are showing up to that theater to pat you on the back and say, I love your project. So you're going to see more and more of studios asking, does the director have a built-in community, or at least do the actors and people part of that have that cachet with an audience ahead of time? And my last point is the budget. These projects are getting made very scrappy. YouTubers know how to make a project on a short budget. They don't need all the bells and whistles of bigger Hollywood films and franchises. So they're able to do it, like in the case of Obsession, for $1 million. And why this matters isn't just that, of course, it's cheaper, it's that there's so much less risk for these studios taking on these projects. If you shot a film for $25 million, you then need to add on kind of double your production budget for your marketing.
So now I'm in $50 million. I have to split everything I get with the exhibitor, right, the people who own the movie theaters. So I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit.
Films need to make so much money at the box office in order to be profitable. So when you take a project that's only a $1 million budget that has a big audience, there's a lot less risk. So you might begin to see, hopefully, more and more studios giving more and more budgets to young filmmakers to make interesting projects. I'm really hoping that we're gonna get to see another birth, another new golden era for the indie filmmaker. And with how affordable cameras and editing software is these days, I hope we're gonna actually get to see more of those filmmakers get those budgets to create their projects. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really want to empower young filmmakers to go make their projects. It's why we've been running Art of Documentary for over 6 years, and it's why I was so excited to see that the 2 #1 box office films were indie projects. And it gets me excited to know that maybe one day that can also be some documentary films. Doesn't have to be, but of course documentary is my passion. If we're talking about authenticity, it should be the most authentic format out there if executed well. So here's hoping that there's gonna be another gold renaissance in documentary filmmaking. Appreciate you guys watching this. I hate goodbyes, but not as much as I hate the Spider-Man franchise. All right, have a good day.